so much, so many things.
Sabrosura pa' ti que.
Hola manis, welcome to Café con Pam, the place where we share our stories over cafecito. Yo soy Pam, and we bring you inspiring stories from first-generation Latinx and people of the global majority. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and ring the bell so you never miss our cafecito time. And hey, for more incredible stories, you can also listen to Café con Pam on your podcast player. Today's episode is brought to you by No Mono, the traveling sound capsule que nos acompaña durante nuestro tour. No Mono streamlines the entire process of sound. It's a sound capsule that simplifies everything. Just clip on a mic, hit record, and we tell our stories. Once the recording is complete, it seamlessly uploads the content to the No Mono cloud. After that, they have the enhancement feature and it diligently polishes the audio to perfection, providing us with the convenience to refine and edit the recording with ease. I love them. I've been using them since I got hold of the sound capsule and it's amazing. Bueno, en este episodio me vas a acompañar a conocer la historia de Andrew. Andrew is the owner of Cafeína Café in San Diego, and it's a location that has become an incredible hub for the community where Cafeína stands. Check it out. Andrew, tell us about your heritage. What's your heritage?
So for me, I grew up actually here in San Diego. So I grew up in San Diego my whole life, born and raised, local. But my background, my family is from Honduras and Salvador.
Honduras and El Salvador. I thought it was just El Salvador.
No, my mom is from Honduras and my dad is from Salvador.
And they met here?
They met here in San Diego.
Okay.
Yeah, both of my parents migrated in the 80s. My dad got his citizenship during the Reagan era.
Okay, the 85 or whatever.
Yeah, so it was very easy for him to get citizenship.
Good for him.
Yeah. He literally said like he just had to sign a few papers, went through the oath, and did like some questions.
I wish they would do that again.
Right? For my mom, actually, she became a citizen, in the early thousands.
Okay.
Yeah, she became a citizen in the early thousands, and I was actually there when she was like waving the only Honduras flag when they would like call your...
Yeah, I'm sure.
So,
Wow.
Yeah, I was in middle school.
Okay.
Yeah, I remember that.
So, to fast forward, you grew up in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
How did this idea of starting a coffee shop come about?
It just happened.
Okay.
That's literally what I tell people. It just happened. I worked at a coffee shop before, and that's where that little seed was in my head, and it was a cool idea, right? It was a cool idea. I was like, okay, working at a coffee shop is awesome, but I was kind of real with myself, and I was like, well, that's just a dream. That's just a thought, right? It's just an idea. This was like back in 2013. Yeah, and then 2014, 15, I ended up working in the medical field.
Okay.
Recently after that, because I was studying to become a nurse.
Okay.
So then around 2014, 15, I was working in the medical field. I kept working I was working as a dialysis technician while I was going to school for nursing. And then 2019 came around, early 2019, and at the time, I was with like my partner, and I was always throwing this idea at people, and my partner.
So it never left you.
It never left. It came back. It left, and then it came back.
Okay.
I used to go to coffee shops, right? That's how everybody starts. You go to coffee shops, you're inspired. And then 2019, early 2018 is when all that stuff happened, these ideas. Towards the end of 2018 is when I really started getting the ball rolling. So then I started Googling, how do you open up a business?
Wow.
Yeah, I started Googling, how do you open up a business? I was Googling all that stuff during work hours. That's the reality of it, right?
Right.
And I had to find a way to get it done, So I jumped through many hoops. I had to use up all of my PTO and all of my sick hours, to leave work so I can spend time outside of work to start the business.
So how did it go from you're thinking about it, the idea comes back, you're still kind of like living life,
Yeah.
you're still thinking about it,
Yeah.
to like, I'm gonna just do it. Like, what was the catalyst that was like, you know what, this idea is not leaving me, I just need to get it done?
Well, just to give y'all the raw story, you know, when I was working in the medical field, it was just I met with some people, you know, that within the medical field, you know, and they were like, oh, well, I kept sharing my story to people, you know, because that's me.
Of you wanting to start the coffee shop?
Of me wanting to start the coffee shop, started to share with people. And then one person in particular, they were like, oh, well, I can help you. And I was like, oh my gosh, really? 24-year-old, super naive,
Right.
trusting everybody,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
So they were like, well, if you're really serious about it, like, you know, I can help you. And I was like, I'll think about it.
Okay.
Consulted with myself, you know, talked with some friends about it. And they were like, sounds like a cool idea.
Okay.
So then I went back to that person and then I was like, hey, guess what? Like, I'm actually going to start the coffee shop. And they were like, no, you're not. They thought I was kidding.
Wow.
But during that time, when they thought I was kidding, I was actually already like talking to people. I was already connecting with some other folks. I was starting to take out loans, personal loans, because you can't take out a business loan
Unless you have a business.
for 2 years
Yeah,
minimum,
yeah, yeah.
right? Anyways,
That reality is really difficult for small businesses that don't come in with capital.
yeah, I think a lot of people don't know that. Obviously, like you know, if you want to start your business, it's not something that you just do.
Right.
Right. There's a lot of steps that you need to take before you start. Right. They say you need to crawl before you can even walk,
Yeah.
and before you can even sprint walk. You know, you got to make sure you're walking right.
Your shoes are tight.
Your shoes are tight. You know, you're ready for the long journey. So, anyways, yeah. So then.
So you took personal loans and you were like, I'm making moves.
Yeah, took personal loans.
Were you scared?
I didn't think about it. You know, I feel like when you're young, you don't think of consequences, right? And in my situation, like, I always felt I was able to like fall back on like my family, my parents, if maybe anything went wrong, right? You know,
Right.
and so I also took out my retirement from the company I was working with. I took out all my retirement.
Okay.
I took out a huge personal loan out of the bank. And they asked, like, oh, like, what do you need this money for? And I was like, oh, I'm going on a vacation.
That much?
Right? Yeah. So, and then ultimately at the end, my parents actually had to come in to help me, you know, cover the gap of what I needed to ultimately open up. So technically not technically, they are the investors of the beginning of Cafeina.
Yay!
You know, so it's really.
Are they together?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're together, which is a blessing. You know, I look up to that love and strength that they have.
For sure.
We all have our problems, right? But
Right. But it's rare to find still couples that are together for a long time.
yeah, they've been together for like 18, 19 years now. Yeah. Or
Nice.
probably longer, I don't know. But anyways.
Right.
Yeah, so they helped me out. And
So how was the conversation with them? Were you kind of like
It
talking
was-
to them as the journey happened, or did you come at them like, look, I'm starting this thing, I'm already kind of like here, and this is what I need to finish it, or how did it go?
yeah, so as soon as I started like making these moves, you know, I was like talking to people, you know, taking out loans. They were just like, all right, whatever. You know, they're like, I'm sure they were worried, right?
Right.
But then I had to sit down with them and have a real conversation because I was like, I don't have money anymore. Like, I'm going to probably not be able to open, you know, and I'm gonna go to this other bank and take out another loan. And at that point, they were like, okay, well, hold on. Like, stop doing that. How can we help you? Like, how much do you need? You know, and then I was like, I need this X amount. And they're like, okay, so we'll give you this money. But knowing my mom, she comes from a line of like families that own businesses. You know, she's the one that her family from Honduras owns a bunch of little mercaditos, you know, like stores, tienditas. Like,
In Honduras?
in Honduras.
Nice.
my dad, he comes from a family that's just like hardworking, just blue collar, right? Hard workers. You put those two together and they created
Right.
me.
And look what happens.
So then,
Are you an only child?
I'm the youngest.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm the youngest. Youngest of 5.
5?
Yeah, 5.
Okay.
Yeah. All half brothers and half sisters. So.
All of them. So you're the only from this.
From this.
Okay.
Yeah. Which is why they're like, oh, consentido, right? Like,
Right.
oh, he's the one that's all love. He gets all the attention.
And everyone lives in San Diego?
Yeah.
Okay.
Almost everybody. I do have a sibling that lives in Salvador from my dad's side.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So I have to go visit again or soon.
For sure.
Yeah. But
So, okay. So you're like, okay, this is what's happening. I'm making the moves. They're like, we'll come through. Are you open to sharing numbers with people? Like how, like if somebody's like, all right, I've been thinking about starting a coffee shop. When it comes to capital, now knowing what you know, thinking about all the personal loans, your 401k, like all of the things. If you were to start over and you were to tell someone, this is how much you need to get started to make this.
it just really depends what your vision is. Honestly, like I started my business bare bones. I started the business like not making it lavish like other cafes,
This was, you always started here in this location?
This current location.
And it was empty.
No, so we ended up buying out another business that was like a dulceria that would like it was like a bunch of random things. But
Are people test?
you're testing many things and it's fine. But they want it out.
Okay.
Yeah. So where the people
How did you come across that?
Well, I was working with certain people at the time, and they came off as like they were consultants, but in the reality, they actually weren't. So this is one thing to tell you guys: like, be careful who you work with. But that's the start.
So they came to you, or you found them,
I found them.
and they were masked as consultants.
Yeah.
To help you start your business.
Yeah, and they helped me get going.
Okay.
I'll give them that, but I realized what I know now, thinking back, there was a part where they were like lost. They didn't know how to continue. So then we had to bring somebody else in to help me out, right? It became this whole blurry thing.
Yeah, I think that happens a lot with, like, I'm in the consultant world, and I think one thing that's important for coaches and consultants is to understand how far you can get people and be clear about that.
Yes.
Because if somebody knows how to open the business but not scale it, then they need to tell you, like, I can get you from A to D, but then E to Z, we're gonna have to find someone else.
Yeah.
And if that's clear up front, then your expectations shift a little, no?
Yeah, and to be honest, I already went through that again recently. Another consultant. I'm not going to go too deep into that, but it's true what you're saying. If you're a consultant, you need to know what you're capable of doing as far as promising a service and completeness of whatever you're going to give to your client.
Yeah. Basically the
Because
promise.
yeah, exactly. Because then what ends up happening if you don't complete what your service is, or as a consultant, you lose a trust. You can
Right.
potentially lose a friend, and on top of that, it's just bad juju.
Totally.
It's just not good business.
Yeah, because you wasted time.
Yeah,
Okay, so you were telling people, depends on your vision. So if you were like, just to be like, at a minimum, you need this, and then you can just go up from there.
So there's many ways to go about it. I started a brick and mortar, right? So I just went straight for the brick and mortar. Most people do farmers markets, pop-ups, which I recommend doing it that way.
I agree.
If you have the guts to really go for a brick and mortar, go for it. But just know that it's a whole different monster. So like
It's overhead just quadruples.
it does, because you have to pay the lights, you gotta pay your employees, you gotta even if you have employees, right? You need to pay everything, right? Everything overhead, rent on top of that. So let's say you start like at a farmer's market, I don't really know those numbers exactly, but I don't know, maybe with like 10, 15,000, depending how much you want to spend.
Right.
That's a great way to start for a farmer's market. Now, with a brick and mortar, like I said, it depends, right? Because how do you want to, well, you got to go through permitting, licensing,
Yeah.
right? Then if you have to buy out a business, that's a whole nother thing. And then also, you have to do the construction, right? What if you have to do some plumbing? It can go on forever and forever, right? A lot of things to consider. And and I'm gonna give y'all a word of advice. If you think this is gonna take you 3 months, double that,
Triple it, I would say.
triple it. Honestly, like you can be as close as possible your projections. You can be really good with numbers, but the reality of it, life throws curveballs at you, and you don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah. I think projections, I think that's a potential misconception that people may have, new small businesses, that they think that projections are like this roadmap. But I would say it's more like a fallback cushion. It's like, this is the potential, but you can't,
You're never sure.
yeah, don't marry your projections.
Don't, because maybe you might be wrong. You make more money.
Right?
Right. This is what you want to do.
Yeah.
Or you might be wrong. And you're gonna be in the red for a while.
Right.
So for a brick and mortar, for me, just so everybody knows, I start off with around 60,000. So do you want a really nice BMW, or do you want to start a business that can bring you some money in the future? I can bring you your living.
Totally.
So it's just like, yeah, you can. For me, it was 60, but this was back in 2019. So this was pre-pandemic. Things were cheaper.
Pre-pandemic.
We started 1 year before the pandemic.
I know.
Crazy, and we're still here 5 years later.
Yay. Can you believe we can say that it's 5 years later?
Mm-hmm.
That's wild.
It is wild.
So, how did you come up with the concept?
So this is funny,
Because it's ice cream, so tell us about it.
okay, so actually we just rebranded. So we just rebranded and we got rid of, if you guys do Google searches, you're gonna see the old logo.
Right.
Obviously the new logo still needs to kind of be out there, the new branding. So it used to be like Cafeína, it was a sugar skull, and it was coffee, ice cream, pan dulce. I just started going to different coffee shops and I was like, oh, this is a cool idea. Maybe I can borrow this idea. And I was like, oh, this is a cool idea. Maybe I can borrow this idea, right? There's a book and I forgot what it's called, but I forgot the author, but I don't even remember the name anymore. But it's like nothing's original, right?
Steal Like an Artist
Steal Like
by
an
Austin
Artist.
Kleon.
Yeah, there you go. You know
Yes.
what I'm talking about. Yeah. So for what I took from that book, it's like nothing's original. Why reinvent the
Every
wheel?
idea has been done.
Every idea has been done already. At some point in time, somewhere.
Right.
But it's just like everybody can have a horchata latte out here or whatever, right? But you just throw things into a mix and try to make it unique to you.
Sabrosura pa' ti que que.
So you rebranded.
Rebranded.
Are we still doing ice cream?
No.
We lost the ice cream and
For
we brought
now.
the food?
For now, temporarily.
Okay.
We brought the food in, and then that's on pause now.
Okay.
This is a whole part of the journey.
Ups and downs of, yes.
Ups and downs. It's crazy.
Okay.
It's-
So we're still coffee pan dulce
Yes.
and
And
coffee and pan dulce
for now.
for now.
Yeah.
Okay.
We rebranded to get rid of coffee, ice cream, pan dulce because we want to diversify who we are.
Okay.
We really want to focus on what I believe Cafeína is. And to me, it's,
Coffee for the soul?
I know, we're coffee for the soul.
Yes.
Yeah,
So what is Cafeina? Tell me.
To me, after 5 years of running the business and learning about myself and the business, Cafeína to me is a coffee shop cafe where you can come in and have a good cup of coffee. We have the fun stuff, right? We want to diversify the menu, right? That's what we just named Cafeína. We want to do the fun stuff, then we want to be very serious about our coffee. Because Cafeína represents the farmers, the actual coffee. I mean, Cafeína is caffeine in Spanish. So when you come in, it's like you're gonna get your cup of caffeine,
Right.
obviously. You know, you're gonna get your
Got mine.
cafeína. There you go.
I'm drinking the honey. No, the rose.
Rose.
Honey rose
Honey rose, yeah.
latte.
Nice.
It's delicious.
I'm glad you like it. Yeah. We do focus on making most of our syrups in the house too.
Nice.
Like 80% of them, we make it ourselves.
Yay.
So it took me a while to like figure that out.
So what's next for Cafeina? So food is on pause.
Food is on pause. Ice cream's on pause.
Okay.
You know, we're roasting our own coffee right now.
That's back.
Yes.
Because that was on pause.
That was on pause. Oh my gosh. It's back. So right now we're just really dialing things in to make sure that the coffee is tasting up to par so we can release it to the public.
Okay.
Because there's a lot of coffee experts in coffee.
I'm not. I just drink it. I'm not an expert.
You know, it's to me it's kind of like it's a challenge, right, with the roasting because
Everyone has an opinion about the roast.
Yeah, everyone's gonna have an opinion. Everyone's gonna have a comment. Some people are gonna say it's delicious. Some people are gonna say like, it's okay. You know, it's just fine. Like, don't take things personal. Like,
Right.
you know, it's
Totally.
it's
Develop your own style.
exactly. You know, and it's so don't take things personal in business. Like, nothing is really personal until they make it personal,
Right.
right? But yeah, so we got the roasting. We're actually going to be leaving this current location at some point. You know, we just feel that this place has done a service for the community and for us, but we need to really find a location that can really help the business grow.
Okay. And with this construction, it's not gonna happen.
There's construction that's been going on for over a year, and now they're telling us it's going to take longer.
Oh my gosh.
So that has affected us tremendously, you know, as far as like sales, keep
Parking, yeah.
parking, you know, keep the employees, you know, on schedule. You know, you have to control your labor as well because then you're just going to be losing money.
Right.
And that's one of the many, many, many moving gears. So right now we found a few places, but our goal is to stay in City Heights. We're located in City Heights.
Okay.
And we want to stay in City Heights because I'm very, very involved into different organizations
Within the City Heights.
within the City Heights community. You know, the community honestly has held it down since day one. Honestly,
I know people that live here and they're like, Cafeina, oh my gosh, it's my coffee shop.
you know, like it'll be sad if we leave. You know, because then I think if we just leave the community, you know, people will probably feel some kind of way. They'll be
For
hurt.
sure.
You know, be like, damn, this dude just got up and left.
Right.
But the reality of it is, like, this has been like an ongoing decision for over a year that I've been having to make, you know, pull the plug and rip the Band-Aid,
Right.
and it's just like we're just not sustainable here, unfortunately.
And you have to do what's best for your business.
I have to do what's best for the business, but also like, if I'm in a location that's not sustainable, then you know, the community will lose something.
Right.
You know, on top of that.
Because you also don't want to provide. Totally.
You know, so it's not just about me. Obviously, it's about, you know, the whole package.
So tell us where we can find you. All the places and spaces.
Well, right now we're still currently located 4011 46th Street in City Heights, on University.
Okay.
You know, we have TikTok, we have Instagram, we have an updated website. We're working on a new app.
Okay.
You know, to order.
Nice.
So those are like our biggest platforms, you know.
And it's at Cafeina. What's the
SD.
handle?
Yeah.
At Cafeina SD.
Cafeína Café SD.
Okay.
Cafeína Café.
Because there's a few
SD.
Cafeinas in the world.
In the world, yes. We're not the only one,
Yeah.
you know.
So we just want to make sure that they get to the right one.
Yes. Our current location is not going to be where we're thinking. It's not too far from here, but we'll just say it's like on the university.
Okay.
You know, it's really cool. It's actually, the new location is right by where I grew up in San Diego. So
Oh my god.
it's a couple minute.
Full circle.
Yeah, it's a couple minute walks from where I live, which is kind of nice.
I love that.
I'm not gonna tell you guys where I live.
Right. We'll find out.
You'll find out.
What the
right?
new location is.
But yeah, so that's where you can find us now.
Amazing. So tell us what are you drinking? What's your daily cafeína?
For me, I just go for an espresso.
That's it.
People think because you own a coffee shop, you drink a
Right.
lot of coffee.
Right.
In the reality, like, yeah, some days you do when you do quality control. Mm-hmm. But there's honestly days where I just don't drink coffee at all because
Really?
I feel like I need a break from it.
Okay.
You know, but for me, just espresso all day or cold brew.
Or cold brew.
love
What's
cold
your
brew.
hours? Your brewing time for cold brew?
20 hours.
20 hours?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So 20 hours. Some people do 18, some people do 20, some people do 24.
I used to
Person.
make a 24-hour cold brew. That was intense.
Sounds intense.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned?
Oof. Oh my gosh.
I know. Pick one.
I need to pick one out of like 100. The biggest lesson I can tell you guys is listen to your intuition and stick to your guts. Honestly, your intuition is your friend, and your intuition will definitely help you navigate to the right direction. So listen to your intuition, because I mean,
I love that.
you know, like seriously, like no, anybody could tell you many things, but when your gut is like, no, this doesn't feel right,
Your
Just go.
inner voice is always right.
your inner voice is always right most of the time.
Most of the
Time.
I would
yeah.
say
like 95%.
yes. And I could argue that it's always right. It's just sometimes we may not get what we wanted.
There you go. That's a good way to put it. So yeah, listen to intuition, you guys, and you know, always do good business.
Obviously. And come to Cafeína.
Come to Cafeina, get you a cafecito, come get some coffee.
It's a pan. ¿Para cuándo va a estar the food? We don't know.
With the food, I don't know. That's in the works still.
Okay.
You know, but it's a big part of what I want to do. You know, for the business. But we want to do something unique.
I know. Last time I was here, you were telling about it.
Yeah.
I want to come and get some pupusas. What's the other thing?
Well, baleadas.
Baleadas.
The
that's right.
baleadas. Yeah, we do baleadas. You know, focus on like a Central American, also like Mexican fusion, like food
Which is kind of non-existent
in San Diego for sure.
and necessary.
So
Bring me some food from elsewhere all the time.
yeah.
Well, thank you, Andrew. This was
Yeah.
awesome.
Thanks, man. We'll see y'all next time.
Y bueno, gracias for stopping by. Don't forget to and remember to share the story. Learn about all the other stories by visiting cafeconpam.com. Stay shining. Yo soy Pam Covarrubias y nos vemos en nuestro próximo café.
Sabrosura pa' ti que